Welcome to this tutorial. In this lesson, we'll be taking a look at the lookup function, the Vlookup, and some datetime function. Now, when you talk about the lookup function, it's a function that you can use when you want to search for a piece of information and you want it to return the corresponding data or information. It may be in a row, it may be in a column. So that's what the lookup does. You search for that piece of information and it will return the corresponding information. Now let's take a practical example. Now we have this student data. We have their student ID, first name, and all the other data. And particularly we have this column E, that contain their scores. And then what we want to do is that we want to grade them based on this criteria. And then also we want to look for the interpretation. Now we'll see that any student that scores 70 and above should automatically be awarded A, and the interpretation should be excellent. So that is what we want to do, and all others like that. So we are going to take a look. We are going to use the lookup function to actually return our results, because that is what it does. You can also use other functions like the if, the if and operation, and some other functions. But this time around, we want to actually use the lookup function to return the grade. Now, what do we do? Say equals to lookup. So lookup, and then it says our lookup value. So what's our lookup value? This is our lookup value, the column containing the scores, because that is the value we want to find out. And then we press our comma, and it says the lookup vector. Now, if you look at this data that we have here, this is the information we want to look at for. We want anyone that score above 70 to automatically return A. So the score column will be our lookup vector. So you highlight everything, and then you apply your F4 to fix, and then you press a comma, and then exactly say what lookup result vector. So what's our result vector? We want this grade to be automatically applied. So this is our lookup result vector. Now we highlight everything at the same time, and then we fix, and then we press our enter, and then you see that automatically that you double click to apply, and you see that this student that got 93 automatically got an A. And then if you look down, if you check down, if you decide to highlight your data down, and then you see that the last student that scored 29 was awarded F, which is actually correct. So that is what the lookup function does. That's automatically graded all our students, and this is particularly useful for teachers and those that work in the education industry. And also we want this result also to be we want the interpretation also to appear in this column. So we want anybody that scored A, the interpretation is excellent, and to the last, anyone with F, the interpretation is poor. So we can also use the lookup, or we can use other functions like the Vlookup and some others. So for example, let's try the Vlookup, and let's see what it will return for us. So we want to use the Vlookup now to return this interpretation. We have this grade. I want to return the interpretation. So what do we do? Simply say equals to Vlookup, and then you say lookup value. This is our lookup value, or we can even pick this as our lookup value. 93 is our lookup value. Then we say comma, and then say table array. So our table array is the information that we have specified, the criteria that we have specified. So we capture everything, and then we press our F4 to fix that table array. Then we press comma, and then they say the index column. Now when you look at our criteria, note there are 3 columns. We have the score column, grade, and interpretation. But the one we want to return is actually the interpretation column. So what do we do? And it's on column 3. If you can't, this is I, J, K. That is 3. So it's on column 3. So we put our 3, and then what's the next thing, comma, and as I say approximate or exact match. So this time around, what we will do is that we'll pick the approximate, which you can use 1 to represent, and click and press or enter, and you see that this student has scored 93, the grade is A, and the interpretation is excellent. So just click and apply to all your students, and you see that everything is neatly done. So that's about that. Now let's also look at the second way we can use the lookup. We can use it to find commission if you are in business, and let's take a look at how we can do that. So we have this sales record, and then this column for commission, and this is the commission amount. I want to do that based on this criteria that we have specified. So what do? We come to the commission column and say equals to lookup. Still using our lookup. What's our lookup value? This is our lookup value on the left, and we press our comma, and then say result lookup vector. So we come to where we have the sales criteria, we highlight everything, and then we press our F4 to fix, then we press comma, and then what's the next thing is the result vector, which is the commission in percentage, and then we'll highlight everything also. We apply F4 to fix, and then we press enter, and we know that this person that his sales record is 493. According to our criteria, it will not get any commission, and then we see that what we have done is correct. So you just click to apply, and then you can check whether everything has been applied. Check the last list on your data set, and you see that everything has been applied. So that is that. And then we now have the commission now in percentage. So how do we find the commission amount? Just multiply the sales by the commission in percentage. So we say equals to the sales multiplied by the commission in percentage, and then we press our enter, and then we apply, we double click to apply, and we see that all our commission, the commission that is due to every employee has been automatically calculated. So that's one way you can use lookup function in Excel. Now let's take a look at the datetime function that we have. Let me clear these datas. Let me clear all, and then we begin again. Now what we want to do is that we have this employee, and then we have their hire date. So what we want to do is that we want to get the full date, we want to get the year using the date function, the month and the days. So that's what we want to do. So quickly, we want to get the full day. For example, this is 2nd July 2010, and then we want to get the date in full. We can say equals to text. We use the text function, we reference the date column, and we'll say comma, and then we now open the double quotation and say what format we want. We want the full day, which is day, saying the full day of the week, and then D for that date, and then M in 4 places for the full month, and then Y in 4 places for the full year, and then we close our quotation, we close our bracket, and we press enter, and we see that this day actually falls on the Friday. This 2nd July 2010 is actually on the Friday, and we have the full day. So just double click to apply to all the other cells, and that is how to find the full date. You can customize it and also manipulate it the way you want. Then we want to find the year. How many years from this day till today's date? How many years has this employee spent with the organization? So let's find it in years. So we are going to use the dated if function. So we say dated if. One thing about the dated if function is that it does not automatically come up, so you have to type everything in full. So we have the dated if. So what's our date? This is our date, and then we press our comma and space, and we say today. We will incorporate today's function, because what the dated if function does is that it finds the difference between two dates. So since we want to look at 2010 and today, so we incorporate today's function. I will close the bracket. I will press comma and say, we open the double quotation and say y. We put the y in quotation, specifying that we want to extract the year alone, and then we close the bracket and then we press enter. So from 2010 till today, it is actually 13 years. And then we apply down, and then we see that all the employees, the number of years they have spent with the organization. So for the month, what we simply do is simply to drag, and then we only change one or two things. So let's edit our formula here. Now for D3, our formula is supposed to be looking at C3. So we simply change the D3 to C3, and then the Y specifying the year, we simply change it to M, specifying that we want the month alone. And then we'll see that we want to convert this 13 years to months. It is actually 164 months, and for all other employees. And also we have the day. So let's modify the formula by saying we go to our data and we see that it's supposed to be looking at C3, and then we change the E3 to C3, and then the Y we change it to D, specifying that we want the day, the value in days. So we press our enter, and we see that from 2nd July 2010 till today, it is actually 5,006 days. That's the number of days the employee has actually spent with the organization. So we see, so from here, we can actually find the oldest employee and the youngest employee in the organization. How do we do that? Quickly say equals to max. We use the max function to find the maximum in these days. Then we press enter, and we see that this employee with 5,968 days is the oldest, and we say equals to mean. We want to find the minimum. We highlight all our data, everything top down, and then we close, and we see that this employee with 194 days is the oldest. So you can apply your filter to get. So we simply apply our filter and we say 5,968, and then we say okay. So we know that Brenda, this employee, is actually the oldest in the organization. And then I can clear the filter, and then we want to find the youngest. We'll apply our filter once again and put in 194, and then we click OK. And then we know that this guy Michael is the youngest. He has actually spent only 6 months, 194 days with the organization, and that will clear the filter. Now other function that you can use is today now, which is used to display the current date and time. So if you want to use that, you can just say equals to now, and then you close the bracket, and then you press enter. So now we actually return the day and the time. So today's date is 16 March 2024, and the time is actually 18:01 local time, where I am recording this video from. And then today, we display only the current date. So simply say equals to today, and then close the bracket, and then press enter, and then you see it will return today's date. So now we return both the date and the time. Today we return only the date. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed this tutorial, I urge you to comment, like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.